Money is a magnifier of the soul, right? It just makes you
Yes,
more of
sir.
who you already are. Money doesn't corrupt you. It doesn't make you worse or turn you to a bad person. It doesn't make you a better person. It just makes you more of who you already are.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I am your host, Q Edmonds. And you know what I'm going to say? I'm excited to be here today. I'm excited because I have another fantastic guest. Nobody going to think I sound like a broken record when I say that. But I'm telling you, our guests, they are fantastic. And you know, I love looking through other people's lenses and through other people's perspective. They are the master at what they do. They know the nuance about what they do. And so today is no different. Listen, this guy, he says, listen, I'm a complete handoff investor. So, you know, I want him to tell us more about that, how he got to that level, how he got to that position. But I'm excited just for you to get to know his journey, get to know what he does now. And so I am so happy to introduce you all to Mr. Chris Miles. Mr. Chris, how you doing today, sir?
Doing great, Q. How you doing, man?
Oh man, I'm doing good. I'm fantastic now that you hear that we actually get to do this episode. And so, Chris, man, I'll be honest with you, sir. I kind of want to dive in. I would love for you to tell the people kind of what you're involved in, like what your main focus is these days. If you want to give us a little bit of an origin story, I love the hero's journey. So if you want to do that, and then where you are in the world, want to let them know that too. We would love to know that as well. So, Mr. Chris, sir, you got the floor, man.
Yeah, like you mentioned, I'm a hands-off investor. I'm literally passive on the side of investing, about as passive as you can get with real estate, where I'll be investing in other people's projects. So I raise the capital. I'm the one that puts the money in your guys' kind of deals, and then makes money off that. And that's kind of what I do. My origin story is interesting because I actually started out as a financial advisor about 25 years ago. And I was the salesman in a suit. I was the one to tell you to not buy real estate. I was the one to tell you just put your money in mutual funds, in the stock market, things like that. And eventually it'll go up because it's beat real estate since 2000 BC. Because if you put $1 in back in 1928, look what it did. I show little charts and there's real estate on the bottom right next to inflation. So I would tell people to do that kind of stuff. And I'll tell you, it was interesting because about just at the end of 2005, my dad had reached out to me and he says, "Hey, Chris, like, when are you going to become my financial advisor?" I said, "Good point. Maybe I should." And I was kind of shocked to even ask for my help. This kind of comes, close to heart because he just passed away a few weeks ago from the recording here. But anyways, he was 61 at the time, and he said, "Chris, I want to retire." And he was the penny pinching saver, post depression era mentality. Trust me, I've been cleaning out his house. This guy collected everything, did not throw away a thing, just in case he could use it for parts or whatever it might be. Right? I mean, this guy saved everything. This guy was debt free. And I looked at all his numbers. I said, "Dad, at 61, if you want to retire today, you've got enough money that you should be able to retire for about 5 or 6 years. So you better hope you die in about 6 years because
Hmm.
that's when you run out of money." Said, "Well, okay, Mr. Sunshine, that's not what I wanted to hear. What do I do?" "I don't know. You did everything right from what I
Hmm.
teach as a financial advisor, right? You've stashed your money away in your 401k, got the company match, you've paid off all your debt. I don't know." And he's like, "Well, what do I got?" I'm like, "Well, you got a paid off house, but you can't throw that in the stock market. I actually have disclosure that says you agreed to not borrow money to put in the stock market because they stopped making that rule. They started making that rule after the Great Depression when people did that and went
Mm,
broke, and the
mm.
banks went broke as a result. So, so for that reason, I'm like, I don't know, Dad.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
And it's about a month later, I called up a friend of mine who I had actually trained to be a financial advisor. Now, I called him because I thought, you know what? Maybe I'll see if I can get him back on my team because he went to go do this crazy thing called real estate investing. I bet you he went broke by now, after 5 months. And so I'll call him up to see how he's doing and maybe he'll come back to work for me. Well, I call him up and what do I find out? No, he's not broke. Actually, he's doing great. In fact, him and his dad, as he said, he's like, me and my dad have actually partnered on some real estate deals, and we've now doubled my dad's income as a professor at the local university. I'm like, wait, hold on. That's too good to be true. There's no way. You've been doing this for how many months? And remember, this is, of course, end of 2005. Like it was easy to be a real estate investor. Like if you invest in real estate in 2016, 2018, right? 2020 even. And he's just like, yeah, man, like we're doing it. And finally, he just asked me, he's like, well, Chris, how many of your clients are financially free where they don't worry about money? I said, well, even the retired ones worry about running out of money too soon. Okay, so none. Got it. How about this? How many of you guys as financial advisors are financially free, not off the commissions you're earning, but actually doing these mutual fund investments? I said, well, none. Probably not because I know there's guys been working here since the 1970s and they can't retire either. He said, there's your problem. And that's when I started to go take that matrix red pill, start going down the real estate rabbit hole, right? And they were primarily doing like flips. I mean, because at that time, 2005, 2006, you could flip something a couple months later, and through appreciation alone, you made money. You didn't have to be a genius. You could be a complete idiot and make money in real estate. And so I started to learn more about that stuff. I actually quit being a financial advisor in 2006, vowed never teach about money again. I would just be a mortgage broker because, again, it was easy to be a mortgage broker then,
Yeah, yeah.
and teach ballroom dancing on the side. And so that's what I was doing. And then, but of course, I wanted to learn the real estate stuff. I flipped my own starter home and turned it into a rental. I actually flipped it to an investor, then leased it back, and then subleased it to a renter. Right. So I basically equity stripped all my equity out of my property and then used that to invest in other things. And then, of course, was renting out my property I just sold. Right. I thought it was genius. I even started doing some various versions of wholesaling of sorts. With just friends and family. I didn't even know what wholesaling was until seriously like 10 years ago. But I was doing like my own version of wholesaling and stuff. And between that and I knew I could lend money, that was a big shocker. I didn't realize like, wait, I can lend money and make like 1% or even at that time, 2% a month on my money. I'm like, it blew my mind because I was used to the whole financial advisor, $100,000, 3% rule, right? Which is basically you have $100,000, you can pull out 3% a year at retirement. People talk about the 4%, but that now has been extended to the age of 70. So you have to be 70 to take out 4%, but the younger you are, the less that number becomes. Even those fire movement people, they say, hey, well, I'm trying to be 40 and financially independent. No, it's a 2% rule for you, not 4. Just so you know, I'm the one guy that's been fired twice in my lifetime before I was 40. And it's ironic that I got kicked out of the Facebook fire group because I dropped that truth bomb on people.
Wow.
So that just goes to tell you that even the fire people are full of crap, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, I mean, so basically I became fire myself when I was 28, almost 29 years old, 2006. I had enough passive income coming in. I didn't have to keep working anymore. I didn't have to do it, the mortgage stuff anymore. I was passing that off and making passive income off that too. And things like that. So I was at this place where I'm like, what am I going to do with my life? Now that I'm financially free. And in 2007, I came out of retirement to teach people how to do what I did. And of course, you guys know what started happening in 2007 through 2009. That was the perfect time to start a brand new business,
Mhm.
especially if you're focusing on real estate investors. And so we started going broke in our business. I went and, did other stuff and I was starting to go broke with my real estate because it wasn't working anymore. Because you couldn't just fix and flip things or even just flip and flip, just buy and flip is what you were doing back then. And so nothing was working. And I went from millionaire to like upside down millionaire. I went to literally from asset millionaire to welfare by 2008. I was on food stamps trying to figure out what to do.
If you're looking for consistent, high quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
So broke that I turned in my Mercedes. They auctioned off for 30,000 less than I owed. I eventually in 2009 foreclosed on my own house. You know, my new dream home that I bought. I had to foreclose on that in 2009 as well, and I was basically going broke. And through that, I had to rebuild again. I didn't go bankrupt, but I did have to rebuild by paying off over $1 million of debt. Finally was able to do that with despite ups and downs and divorces and things like that by the end of 2016, where I finally this time around, instead of being more an active investor, I became more the passive investor, where I was starting to put my money in other places. I mean, the most active I ever did was getting a turnkey real estate property where I had a property manager doing that for me, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where my evolution went. It was hard to get back into real estate because I was scared to death that was going to repeat and happen again, but I had to be reminded many times that I'm not the same person. I learned lessons and I'm much wiser the second time around. And now it's going on almost 10 years. I've been financially independent the second time. And that's what
Mhm.
I teach people to do now.
Man, you dropped so much good knowledge. Thank you for your story. Thank you for the gift of your vulnerability. Because I say that's a gift. You know, you told us things that you didn't have to tell us, but you did. So I appreciate it. I love how you just said, I'm a different person now. You know, it sounds to me, listening to you talk, that you embraced a new identity multiple different times. And when I say that, like
Mm,
you accepted the loss, overcame the loss. You accepted the fact that this financial advisory thing, it was cool until a light bulb flipped off. And he was like, yeah, I'm gonna change my identity again. You know, talked about divorce, just different things. Like it sounds to me that you were able to, and I don't want to necessarily say reinvent yourself. I mean, I guess that fits, but I like just the word identity. You embraced who you are in every season and every facet of your life. That's what it sounds like to me. You think that's true?
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always lessons along the way, right? And you become a different version. Ideally, especially if you're humble enough and willing to grow and learn. I'll tell you the problem that I had the first time around, because people say, well, what happened that first time? Really, it was just pride and ego. You know,
Mm,
like, I mean, a few things. Like, one, I was just inexperienced, right? I didn't know what I was doing. I came in on a good market cycle. This is why when even before things started to hit the fan a little bit here in the 2020s with real estate, and you really got to started to see, as Warren Buffett would say, it's when the tide rolls out, you find out who's swimming naked,
yeah.
right? It was the same
Yeah.
thing in 2005 and 6 and 7, right? Like you didn't have to be a genius to make money in real estate. You just literally had to buy a property and you could buy it with virtually nothing down and then sell it. It was even easier then than it is today. And and so that's the thing. Like, I mean, I'll tell you too, I've learned this. Money is a magnifier of the soul.
Woo!
Money is a magnifier of the soul, right? It just makes you
Yes,
more of who
sir.
you already are. Money doesn't corrupt you. It doesn't make you
Mm,
worse or turn you to a bad person. It doesn't make you a better person. It just makes you more of who you already are. So when I was starting to learn this stuff in 2006, I had a very fragile ego. Yes, I had an ego where I didn't feel like I was enough. I felt
mm,
like that, that not having money, even as a financial advisor, I felt like I wasn't making enough there. So I felt deflated. And so I didn't have a lot of self confidence. I would try to overcome that self-confidence with ego, right? You know that
mm,
you probably have
mhm.
seen what that looks like, whether you've done it yourself or
Yes,
you've known
sir.
people like this where their
Mhm.
ego gets kind of big, but they're just trying to beat their chest to
Yes, sir.
make up for the lack of confidence. So when I started getting money in 2006, I'll tell you, I bought that Mercedes just months later when I started to have that passive income come in. And I remember I already quit being a financial advisor. I took one of the guys in my office, I took him a ride in my new Mercedes. This is how, to lack of a better word, how douchey I was. Um, I literally drove across the parking lot from where his office was across to the restaurant. We could have just literally walked to the restaurant, but I wanted to take him in my Mercedes just to show it off, right? Because again, fragile ego. I didn't have that confidence. I thought the stuff would make me look more valuable, although I didn't feel valuable. when I bought the house. I told my realtor the same thing. I was like, "The house I'm looking for, I want people to come and go, wow," right? So I had like the nice track dome lighting and stuff like that, and things. It was a show home that I ended up buying, and
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Was it too much of a home? Yeah, probably. I mean, it doesn't matter actually what home I probably would have bought based on what I
Yeah.
went through. I probably would have lost any home, even the cheap
Yeah.
ones. But
Yeah.
but even then, like I bought that dream home, because I wanted to show it off. And so more money just made me try to make up for more insecurity, right? I just try to flash stuff. What's interesting, the lesson I learned when I lost it all is I had a kind of a come to Jesus moment. I was like, okay, if I don't have any of this stuff, because literally all that stuff was being stripped away by 2009, I'm like, who am I? Am I still worth the same thing? Am I worth more or whatever? And when I realized my value wasn't attached to stuff, ironically, it was at the depths of my financial despair is when I became the most financially free.
Hmm.
Because once I lost that attachment to stuff, the money and the stuff didn't matter anymore. And it allowed me that when I rebuilt it again, especially because by the fourth quarter of 2009, things really started to turn around that business. We actually started to pull things out of the hole and money started to flood in. And all of a sudden I was like I was living on dirt cheap, like nothing, like $4,000 a month with a family of at that time of seven, because we had five kids. I mean, we were like living on nothing. But still we were making it work. And so I was just packing money away, trying to pay off debt and things like that. And that allowed me to rebuild differently, because even when the money and the stuff came bigger this next time around, it didn't impact me. I didn't care. And I think that's when I realized that I had a whole nother level of financial freedom that I didn't have the first time.
Yeah. Mm. Again, you said so many powerful things. I had to write down money is a magnifier of the soul. I had to write that down. That's an incredible quote. Um, Chris, so I actually, if I'm being honest with you, I don't think I've ever asked this before, but I just feel led. I want to peek into your childhood. I want to talk to little Chris for a little bit, right? Because I would love to know. I have this saying, I say destiny has no wasted moments. And when I say that, I
Mm.
mean like as you've been on your destination, you've picked up tools that are transferable to every stage of your life. And so like I'm talking to somebody who has identity shift, who has accepted who he is, self-awareness. I would love to know if you have identified in little Chris some innate things that continue to help you out. Like, did you know you would be good with money? Did you see that innovative reinvention kind of person when you were younger? Like, your dad knew to call you. So I'm sure there are just some things when you were younger that maybe you could identify, like, that you can see now, like, yeah, I kind of pulled from little Chris to get to kind of where I am now.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was very well, in some ways different, but in some ways not. I lacked a lot of confidence as a kid. I was very
Mm,
quiet, but
mm,
I was very, very smart. I'm not
mm.
trying to be, braggadocious or anything, but I was obviously like a pretty bright kid. Like I remember in fourth grade when we were doing times tables. You remember doing those, right?
Sir? Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I wish my kids knew how to do those half the time now, but all the Common Core crap is messing up.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I remember I was doing the tens, and of course they're teaching you long division or long multiplication, right? So you're doing like 0 times 0 is 0 times, 6 is 6, and then 1 times 6 is 6, and I was starting to do that. And then it was just a few in, I raised my hand, and the teachers, of course, have us quietly work on the work. I said, "Hey, all we have to do is just add zeros to this number,"
Huh.
which we all know as adults, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But I
yeah.
learned that little hack, and her response was, "Shh,"
Yeah,
because all the other kids were doing the long way. I was like,
yeah,
"Screw that." I'm like, so I would see patterns pretty quickly, right?
yeah.
That was kind of like
Mm,
one of my gifts is I could see things
mhm,
pretty quick. And I've noticed
mhm.
that even like trends and things that are coming, like I just have an intuitive feel too. So it's not just I pick up things from a logical number standpoint, which is what helped me with the money side. But also there's an intuitive side of me as well, which probably comes from my mom's artistic side, right? Because she was
Mm,
one of the she actually is one of the oil painters that was trained by the same master painter that trained Bob Ross. Have you ever seen him with the afro and the painting the happy little clouds and stuff,
yeah.
right?
Look
Like
at
my
that.
mom did the
Wow.
same thing.
Yeah.
So she had this artistic side, but then I also had this logical side from my dad, and it kind of blended into me. And so yes, that's helped me a lot because I was always good at a lot of things, but I never stood out in just one thing.
Yeah.
That was the
Yeah.
that was the one thing that was kind of annoying because you know how you go to high school, you're trying to get scholarships because we were broke, we didn't have a lot of money, but trying to get scholarships is like my dad's like, "Well, you better get good grades." I'm like, "Okay, well, I had pretty decent grades once I tried again because I didn't want to." I hated the fact that being a nerd would get you beat up, so I would try to pretend I'm stupid. Which actually became a gift later on because pretending to be stupid and I got so tired of kids copying my homework all the time that I finally was just like, "I'm just gonna tell them how it is." So I try to dumb down my language to the point to where they would understand it and say, "Great, this is the answer. This is how you get the answer." Because I was just sick and tired of them, cheating off my homework and then beating me up later that day,
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
like, "Screw you. Like,
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
do your
Yeah.
homework. Let me show you how," right?
Yeah.
And that's even helped me now as being more like a teacher and a leader in what I do. And even with my podcast, I'm over 1,000 episodes into my Money Ripples podcast now and doing that. I've actually done podcasting for since 2008. And then
Mhm.
even did AM talk radio and stuff, right? So all that stuff I feel like kind of led me to where I am today. And I still use those gifts today.
Yeah. Now, I'm so glad you brought up the podcast and leadership because as you was talking, I was following the through lines. I was following little Chris who held up his hand and wanted to give the answer to everybody. Like, all you got to do is add zeros. And the teacher was like, shh. But then I was following, I don't know how old this Chris was, but so on Facebook and just giving away answers and get booted out the Facebook group. I think it was a Facebook group, right? But well, listen, I want to give people the answers. Why we don't have to hoard the answers. And then now listening to you talking about do podcast and leadership, like you seem to me the through line is that you want other people to know the answers. Like even with your advising, right? I want to help people. I want to help you figure it out. I don't want to be a gatekeeper and just hold everything to myself. I want you to know what it's like to be financially successful. I want to know what it's like to make the right decision when it comes to stocks. And so, as I listen to you talk, I listen to your through line that you really want to help people. And so, I'm just fascinated by how where you are right now. And giving us just a gift of following your story and why you're here now. I see your through line, man, and I see you shining bright. And again, I thank you for just sharing with us, being with us today. I do want to ask one final question before we get out of here. Do you have any real goals? Like what's next for you and what you do in your processing and strategy? Like what's next?
I think for me, the biggest thing I'm really looking for right now is just keep growing that passive income number for myself. Like I'm roughly about 50,000 a month, but I'd like to get it to about 1,000,000 a year. And so, I know that there's ups and downs and stuff and the markets can shift and change, but despite all that, I know at least the trend is going up and that's the thing I'm looking for. So I know that's for me personally, but ultimately I don't even need that much. The truth is that I want 1,000 families financially independent by 2030. That's really the goal I'm aiming for, so I'll have my own personal goals, which are great. Ultimately, I wanna be able to help spread that because at the end of the day, when you pass on from this life, what are you gonna leave behind, right? I can leave behind a bunch of stuff, and that's not gonna make people's lives better necessarily. But what I can teach and what I can leave on and create a legacy for other people to model for themselves and for their families, and they could pass on to their kids, then we can create generations upon generations of more wealthy individuals. Any better than any crappy government welfare program could try to do for people. This is something that can actually liberate people and make them free, and that's really my goal, really my goal.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Chris, if I didn't recognize that in you from your youth until now, and I would say, man, this guy's just talking. But no, it's been your through line to want to give the answers away, to want people to have the answers that you just don't keep it to yourself, that you want to give it away. So I
Yeah.
know that that's heartfelt. I know that that's sincere. And so, Chris, man, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for being here today. If somebody wanted to reach out to you, connect with you, collaborate with you, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
Yeah, look up it comes out it actually already came out. So it's already launched, already on Amazon, so you can also order your book as well and get that full story of what actually happened and how do you actually create it for yourself too? How do you actually create that kind of financial freedom where you work because you want to, not because you have to.
So interesting. I was going to ask you, where's the book? I was not surprised that you had a podcast. Definitely not surprised that you wrote a book because, again, man, you are the type of person that just want to give the game away. And so I appreciate you, man. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you for your time, which is definitely our most precious commodity, right? Thank you for your story, the gift of your vulnerability, because you said things that you did not have to say. So I thank you for sharing that with us. And definitely thank you for your perspective. Thank you for the way you think. Thank you for the way that you have thought throughout every identity of your life, every reiteration of your life. Thank you for embracing who you are, embracing your identity, and also embracing the fact that you are a leader and you want to help other people. And so I really appreciate you being here today. This is one special for me, so I appreciate you, sir.
Put me on.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, listen, y'all cannot tell me y'all did not get value out of this conversation. You can't tell me. I told you at the top, fascinating people come on, and you see Mr. Chris has not disappointed. Just fascinating, and just thank you so much. And y'all have to make sure y'all subscribe. Like, you got to make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Definitely check out Chris. Check out his podcast. Did you give the name of the podcast? Did we talk about that?
The Money Ripples podcast? Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. I apologize. Yes. So definitely check out Money Ripples, but definitely make sure you are subscribed here. That way you can keep coming back to get this incredible content. So, Mr. Chris, I thank you again. And to everyone else, we will see you on the next time.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.